babies, it's that time again. Oh yeah. We're still anticipating the change of seasons. We're technically in spring, but it's not freezing, but it's like 30-mile-an-hour gusts. I guess that's how it is in the end of March, beginning of April. Oh yeah. I always like to feel the wind though, because the wind always reminds me of moving with God. God is both predictable and unpredictable. So, what's predictable about God? That He's going to give us evidence of His love. He's predictable that way. He's unpredictable in how He's going to show it and when He's going to show it. Because we know He always is, then we don't rest on the evidence. We rest in the fact that we know He is always loving. We rejoice when we get blessed without any doubt. But for most of the time, we're just resting in the joy of knowing we are in this relationship forever. Oh yeah, baby. In fact, I was thinking about, and some of you may find this useful, that sometimes we're our own worst enemy, right? Because we're living in a way as if the platitudes that are common in life are actually parameters of the kingdom. And that's just the opposite is true. God's kingdom is always at odds with what the world values. I'm trying to think of an example for you. One of just this whole idea of Wu Wei. It's a Taoist term, and what it's reflecting is that maximal growth occurs when we're not striving to achieve it. So that's why a lot of us Christians focus on resting. We're resting in the knowledge that we are safe in the arms of God's love. And we call it knowledge because we have the evidence of the cross of Jesus that assures assures us we are loved. So we don't need a new car right now. We don't need a new relationship. We don't need some conflict we're going through to be removed. We don't need those things. We have all we need in the relationship, because in a relationship of love, we can be sure that we are showered in its gifts, because love can only love, and love showers gifts. So you might say, well, if I'm being showered in gifts, how come I feel so all alone and separate? Well, because you're not sowing in with seeds of faith. You're looking for evidence instead of rejoicing in what is. And as long as you're rejoicing in what is, in due time, sooner rather than later, you will get the reassurance of God's provision. Oh yeah. And so you want to observe yourself, like outside yourself, so to speak. Like watch yourself make decisions, and then see if you can determine why you're making those decisions. And if those decisions are based on commonsensical, worldly values, and not on the Word of God, the living Word of God, then you know you're on shaky ground and you shouldn't expect anything. I think that's in James, right? Somebody who wavers shouldn't expect anything. And I know us humans, being what we are, weak and needy, when we see ourselves vacillating, we're like, well, how am I ever going to receive anything? I just keep wavering. That brings us back to the resting. You're resting in His unwavering presence and love and character. You could almost look at it like you're resting in His character, so much so that His character becomes your home. So it's very clear to you when you're leaving home. You don't feel at peace, you don't feel empowered, you don't feel inspired, and you know it's a sign that you've left home. So the beauty of it is, in the relationship, you just return home, not by trying hard to be faithful, trying hard to be as loving as God, but rather nurturing the practice of emptiness, so that the fullness that He is, lacking nothing, makes its home in you. And that way the world around you can see foundational set. And you can rejoice that they have evidence, and that'll help them grow, because they're getting the evidence that Jesus indeed is the ascendant one. Oh yeah, babe.